Thursday, July 7th. I got up in the morning really tired. My ankles are a little better, but definitely still felt some minor aches here and there. It's a relief that I'm going to work today since I really don't want to deal with my angry wife after what happened last night. Great. I see Greta getting up early in the morning as well, and I decided to hurry and eat my breakfast before I'm going to be the receiving end of my wife's wrath. I hurriedly eat my breakfast of toast, drink some coffee, and be brave enough to confront Greta with something in my mind. Look, Greta, I don't hate you. I'm just not interested in dealing with you and your problems anymore. I've accepted the responsibility of failed parenting. I just wanted to move on. Your mom just said that I have to tolerate you from now on, okay? I don't plan to work with Greta too much since I know that she hesitated the idea of bringing herself back to being Greg once again due to observing her reluctance in the car yesterday. I want my son Greg back. Damn it! 1 more month before school. Honestly, I'm not planning to give up just yet. I need to convince Greta that she needed to go back to being Greg out of concerns that she doesn't have legal documents from the government. Anyway, Greta got the newspaper for reading, then hands me over the paper. Get rid of this, Dad. Huh? Let me see. I've read the newspaper and I'm not happy that Little Cutie is going to be continued by Tyler Post, the son of the original author, Bob Post. In fact, Bob Post is the worst cartoonist in the newspaper ever, in my opinion. I can't honestly describe how bad it is. The only thing I can do in this journal is to draw it in here. Daddy, is rain just God sweating? I'm kind of... Well, I don't even know what to say to that. Oh wow, I didn't think I'd still have the skills of an artist. I know I haven't drawn it in many years, but I do remember showing Greg on how to draw stuff. At least I'm glad that I haven't lost touch of it though. Another thing is that my wife gave me the journal that had the front cover that says diary on it. I then cover it with packing paper so that my coworkers won't make fun of me when I wrote in this journal. Yes, this is a journal, not a diary. Alright, I can't be late. I got to head out quickly to work right now. I'm at work right now, writing and drawing in my journal during work hours while keeping it on the cover. So where I left off, I went into my van and drove off to work. And I usually would drive my car, but since Roderick and Manny went to school now, I don't think my wife would need a van for now. Anyway, during my drive, I thought about needing overtime from work to not only make up the lost hours from my sick day, but to also impress my boss. And I need more money in general. Why do I need more money? Honestly, I'm thinking about opening a separate bank account in a different bank. As for my wife's bank she usually goes to, we had a joint bank account for not only our marriage, but our family. And this isn't the family that I wanted anymore due to differences in goals of life. My expectations for them were way different from the reality that I'm currently dealing with. This is not who I am anymore regarding how I actually represented myself and the expectations of what I want. To me, it looks like I'm planning to reinvest myself since 17 years ago. And that's probably a good thing to do since my wife had become more loose on taking care of our children these days. Speaking of which, the problems within our marriage had gotten bad over the years. Now that I think about it, I've realized that the first major distress was Maddie being born 9 years after Greg. It was very unexpected since we didn't plan to have another baby. Even worse, we didn't have hand-me-down materials that our older 2 sons used to have, thus having to spoil Manny over it. Then Roderick decided to become a drummer after my wife gave him his first drum set. It's not that drumming itself that I have a problem with. It's that my wife's idea came from the TV where a family band has played their piece, thus wanting to start a band which I'm against with, out of financial concerns that we're having. Another issue that I have with Roderick is that he played heavy metal, which I don't really like that genre at all in my opinion, which it doesn't always guarantee success with that niche genre. What's worse is that Roderick's grades from schools were even worse than Greg's, which he got some D's in some of his classes. Thus, I'm entirely against his music genre, his bandmates, and his music career. Greta was the last straw out of how drastic it was to see her change gender from Greg to Greta quite quickly from those military potions. Greg was way worse off than I thought. Sure, she's better than Roderick regarding grades in middle school, but doesn't excuse the fact that I remember waking myself up to see Greg eating at 3 a.m. This was the beginning of the problems that I have with Greg, mind you. Greg, what on earth are you doing at this hour?
Dad, I'm just trying to eat some Cheerios. Jeez. Boss, is it not school?
No, it's 3 in the morning. Are you insane?
Are you insane? School doesn't start till next week. And FYI, school doesn't start at 4 o'clock in the morning. You woke up Manny. And if he doesn't go back down...
I believe that Greg has unmentionable problems that kept me from solving those kind of problems effectively. At first, I thought that Greg needed to exercise, so I gave him some lifting weights as gifts from Christmas, but went into disuse by the time he's in 7th grade. Then, I thought that signing Greg up for soccer would be a good idea. This was to compensate Greg's lack of academic skills in my definition. A fair way to be successful in life. Seeing Greg on newspaper and office made me regret about it. What are the unmentionable problems that you might be asking? Popularity? School popularity? You know that my wife and I have different views on it, right? That's sadly also the case as well. Shoot, I've gone off topic. Anyway, another reason why I need a separate account for my wife is that in case if our marriage had gone worse, I don't want my wife to have control of the money entirely for the rest of my life in case we're separated. During the time that we have the joint account, I was never able to get a new pair of pants for myself without getting my wife's approval beforehand. Has anyone seen my pants? And lastly, having a separate bank account would alleviate the issue of not being able to buy whatever I like during the time I had a joint account with my wife. To tell you the truth, I've been eating Greg's lunch snacks because I couldn't afford it for myself, thanks to that joint bank account. I was stressed out from work while I ate Greg's lunch snacks.
Aha! I caught you, Dad.
After I get a separate bank account with the cash I've saved up for months, I can finally open this separate one. Alright, I better get back to work. I don't want to get caught writing this journal. After work, I went to go see my boss, up to the point I've never mentioned his name. That's because I honestly didn't consider him as a friend. In fact, I've heard from my coworkers that my boss, Stan Warren, had talked behind my back about how I was the wounded gazelle for the company. It really pees me off being called that way. I may manipulate others to get what I want from the company, but being a victim is not who I am at all. Bro, this guy is just like Greg. I'll talk about Frank by the way. I've been trying to move up a ladder in the office world, and I haven't felt like I have made any progress. I decided to ask my boss if I have an overtime. Do you by any chance have an overtime for me, Stan? I needed to take care of the finances for the family and pay the bills.
Sorry, Frank. I'm afraid that we don't have an opening for an overtime right now. Office work got plenty done without you. You can just go back to being useless, boy.
My boss told me that he couldn't provide overtime due to stricter regulations regarding employee work hours needed to be at 40 hours. I understood that and left the workplace, feeling quite down about this. I didn't really feel like I wanted to encounter my wife and Greta at all. The former, I've angrily argued last night, and the latter, Greta's the one who got me into the breaking point of the entire family and my lifestyle of having a strong family that's gone. I opened my separate bank account in a different bank and I went home for the day since I couldn't afford to stay at a motel. When I got home, I was greeted from Greta surprising me in the process as I wasn't expecting her to be at the front door. I wonder if she had any ulterior motives for doing that. Hi Dad, welcome home. Hope you had a good day from work. Maybe Greta wants me to buy one of her video games, Twisted Warlock 360 or something. Usually, I tolerate it when Greg asks me something over this due to assuming that he's doing so well at school, by either getting good grades or being good at after-school activities. But since Greg had turned to Greta, I'm worried that she'll decline further and further beyond saving her from societal problems that she'll end up having when she isn't being Greg. Greta couldn't stay like a girl forever, right? This is one of those times that I wouldn't tell anyone that we have Greta under any form of circumstances, not even at family reunions. I'm feeling too hungry right now to speculate about Greta's motives. I hope my wife cooks something great to eat tonight. As soon as I go in the kitchen, my wife starts off with,
What is wrong with you, Frank?
I didn't know why my wife starts being mad at me until I realized that Manny had told her about what I told him last night. Yeah, this guy's cooked. My wife just kept repeating the same points that she made about yesterday, and I ended up regurgitating the same points that I've made yesterday. I'm really tired about Greta, mind you. It's clear that I couldn't really trust Manny to keep my secrets from my wife. To be really fair, I didn't explicitly tell him to keep a secret last night since he went to sleep. I was hoping that Manny would at least understood himself since I assumed that Manny wouldn't like to hear the full argument that we have last night. This guy probably knew that he shouldn't say anything but just did it for fun. Look how he's even smiling when he's getting yelled at. In general, my wife and Roderick had sided with Greta staying. I'm surprised Roderick did. The way she is, wow, Manny and I decided the idea of Greta must turn back into being Greg soon. Greta, of course, wants to stay the way she is, despite having issues with Manny. I'm glad that at least Manny agreed with me regarding issues around Greta. Friday, August 12th. Well, I forgot to record things in a journal for about a month. Things have been a lot more tense inside our home since my wife brought Greta back home. It's obviously clear that the bond of my family were almost impossible thanks to my wife, and neither agreeing with our ideals of a lifestyle afterwards. The reasons why I didn't write it down sooner is more about not letting my wife read what I've written down in my journal. I've observed my wife for a month, and I've been able to keep track on a planner instead to know when to safely and secretly write it down so that my wife doesn't know the truth. I've maintained my workplace position per usual. I got a new, but secretive, part-time service that I'm making extra finances. That's for my new separate bank account. And I have been happy for spending money to myself in a long time thanks to the decision of opening a separate bank account. I don't want my wife to ask for more because I don't want to invest in a lifestyle that completely contrasts the overall lifestyle that I wanted. A week after requesting my boss for an overtime, I decided that I was bold enough to ask for a pay rise from my boss. Unfortunately, my boss denied a pay rise for me, citing the fact that he needed to pay other workers equally, and the fact that the company itself is only breaking even at best. Therefore, I can't pursue that idea any further. Well, that sucks since it means that I have to earn outside of this workplace. I tried to think of an idea. Then, I've got one idea. The first thing I've done outside of work is to advertise providing loan service to other neighbors as a way to sincerely hustle for more money for my separate bank account. Hope that my ad works. VIP loan service. Pamper yourself, earn your loan with our award-winning world-class service. Call 555-4734. Look at Frank, we're looking like some giga chad. After I've made the posters and put them up in the neighborhood, the first customer that I got was Miss Cranfield. Miss Cranfield was willing to hire me on the condition that I got a reference from somebody who knows about me. Jeez, I wish I would have known the warning signs about dealing with that customer. I don't want to try to get an actual reference from somebody else who would talk positively about me, so I decided to pretend that I am my boss, Stan. The only thing I would have expected a rejection is that she could have a new telephone that displays the number, but it looks like I don't have to worry about that.
Hello, the VIP loan service does exceptional work and cater to my every loan need. Frank is a very good employee. You should definitely hire him, ma'am.
Oh, okay, I'll see. When I acted like my boss on the phone, it worked. Miss Canfield had brought out my acting skills. I was able to ask for an address and provide the time for me to meet her at her house. Miss Canfield provided me that and I was booked for her house. I thanked Miss Canfield for her time and hung up. I'm just glad that I'll at least have my service skills shown for tomorrow. So I got to put my gardening tools in the van tonight. I don't want to arouse suspicion from my wife. The reasons why I decided to do lawn service as a part-time job is because I like being outside for fun. I remember having fun outside with an old best friend of mine. Gals where we played all day in the woods. I wonder how Gals is actually doing right now. I may have to ask for an advice from him before trying to leave my wife as a way to fix my issues. The next day after work, I've arrived at Miss Canfield's house, and the first thing she asked me for is to mow her lawn. I got my lawnmower off the back of my car. Yeah, since my wife says that she needed a van for her groceries, which I completely understand that. Thankfully, I took it out of the van and put it into my car before she found out about it. I took it out, put the lawnmower down on Miss Canfield's lawn and started mowing.
Oh boy, some tough work, boy.
At first, it was easy to mow her lawn, through and through until I've encountered a lot of dog poop in her lawn. Mrs. Canfield must have not properly taken care of her lawn. I did what I had to do and threw it away properly. I'll have to charge her for at least $5 more for that. When I was done mowing the lawn, I went to her door to ask for $25 for my service. Mrs. Canfield unfortunately wasn't cooperating. For 1 hour and 15 minutes of work, you owe me about $25 in total.
Frank, shut your BS up, boy. Before I slap you. Trying to haggle this all day. Boy, don't let me call the police on you, boy. I know your mama. I'll call her, boy.
Mrs. Campbell didn't fully pay me for my service. I told her my reasons for charging a price is because 1, I'm a grown man that would like to be fully paid $20 for an hour. I told her that it took me around 1 hour and 50 minutes to fully clear her lawn from dog poop and debris, in addition to fully mowing her lawn down. To be fair, $20, that's not even bad for it's not like you're going to be paying that often because you're just mowing the lawn. They'll probably be back once every couple of weeks. Mrs. Canfield told me that she's an old lady that doesn't have that much money And so she paid me $5 and slammed the door in my face. What the heck's wrong with her? I'll find a way to get her back for disrespecting my service like that. Mrs. Canfield has earned my dislike from me. If I could, I'd do something directly to her, but I accepted my losses and moved on to the next customer that has an appointment with me. The rest of the people had fully paid my services, have good references from them, and have my separate bank account being grown from all of my hard work. My first week went better than expected. Another great job by VIP loan service 555-4734. Please call me if you need to learn more by a gigachad like me, who's 6 foot, nonchalant, and just a gigachad. In my second week, my financial situation has gone best thanks to that separate bank account that I've opened up with. As for my family and my workplace, not much. It's too much of the same, sadly. Firstly, the promotion had been passed over from me. I decided to ask my boss about it after work. When it happened, it was half what I expected. Hey, the promotion that you've provided to someone earlier, why was I passed over it?
Well, you see, Frank, the guy that got the promotion, he had a college education degree. That's needed for the company to be trusted in medical information systems that we're providing for customers. The truth is that we need someone promoted that has credibility so that the customers are more likely to trust us in general. That's how business goes sometimes, Frank. Now, before you go any further with your demands, let me ask you something. You asked me for overtime, and I said no. You asked me for a raise, and I said no. Finally, you've questioned about someone earning the promotion. Had to explain the reason behind it. Frank, you're honestly bothering me. What's going on with your life?
Okay, I'll admit it. I was looking for a way to move up within my career by learning more about the company, hoping that I have a chance to get in that promotion in general. I simply just want to earn more money, to live a better life. I'm sorry for bothering you, Stan. It's just that I want my life to be more productive by learning a lot of the things in general.
Well, I'm glad that I've explained to you about the reasons why business does the way it does. I hope you can stop bothering me about those things in general, because you got at least 2 more years before you can get promoted. So please be patient about your career and try to live what you have from now, okay?
Okay, sir. I understand. Second, I realized that working in an office for a medical information system would stagnate my career choices in life. Wish I could be CEO in my younger years so that I could have an influence of not only to my family, but to my friends as well. Nowadays, I'm dealing with nonsense in the office. Sounds like somebody's got the case on the Mondays. And finally, I honestly cannot afford 2 more years for a pay rise and or promotion due to how my family is currently turning out to be. It looks like I might as well resign soon if there's no quick changes, hoping that I'll get a new job with a better pay and a faster career path.
PC though, letter? What the flip does that mean? Huh?
Do you see what I have to put up with for the last 20 years of working in this job? This is actually why I asked for a promotion. Yet, I didn't have the kind of trust with Stan and 8 other supervisors who just wanted me to file up proper paperwork reports. At least I have free time when I'm done with work, since I'm looking forward to make my own business within my time. After that meeting, I've still done some loan services for people around Plainview. People around me were appreciative, fully paid me for my services, unlike Mrs. Canfield, and I have a pretty good number of references from people for my future job interviews. My separate bank account had also grown significantly faster than my joint account for the very first time. Speaking of Mrs. Canfield, I have an idea on how to get back to her. I'll get eggs and toilet paper rolls to egg her house down. I got this idea from my younger bro. Rancy's gonna egg her. I got this idea from my younger brother Gary, who said that he did it to an ex-boyfriend's house one time for him and a girl. I'm not sure about the details anymore. It's been a long time since I talked to Gary, and I don't like him either. Let's just say that he's irresponsible for his own life in general.
Is that you, Frank?
Yep, it's me, Frank. People have booked me for their appointment of the VIP loan service that I offer. I'm recommended for the job. Anyway, people have been recognizing me for my service to their lawn when I'm at the store. I haven't seen Pat for a long time. I think we've met at a library back then. It's been so long that I couldn't even remember the exact time that I encountered her. I told her about my VIP service that I offered. Pat says she'll think about it.